Never confuse education with intelligence. You can have a PhD and still be an idiot, stated Richard Feynman. What are some real-life examples of this? Sometimes me. I have a PhD and yet spend way too long on Reddit, showing a distinct lack of common sense, smiley face. On a more serious note, I knew a guy who went off to do a physics PhD in the US, was on a master's at the time at my postgrad alma mater, yet denied climate science. And I suspect, though I'm not certain, that I must have interacted with PhD students during undergrads who thought the Earth was actually 6,000 years old, though I guess obviously falsifiable views aren't quite the same as a lack of common sense. Had a guy I lived with in uni who's now a PhD holder who was, shall we say, short on common sense. One day he was cooking and he was chopping veg on a hob electric using those flimsy thin chopping boards. He turned the hob on while the chopping board was still on top, stunk the floor out with the smell of melted plastic, and ruined the cooker, which the other housemates couldn't use. It's been over a decade, but I still can't grasp the logic of what he was thinking in that moment. Helped some mates move house. One was a uni student doing a double degree in computer science and something else very challenging. While we packing boxes, he asked if could borrow a saw. When I asked why, it was so he could shorten the legs on the dining table so it would fit out the door. The look on his face when I grabbed one of the legs and started unscrewing it was priceless. As was the look when I asked him how he thought he got it in the room in the first place. Everyone with a liberal arts degree who's currently working in retail, fast food, DoorDash, Uber, other gig economy jobs, warehouse jobs, packing jobs, or anything else because they're drowning in debt due to falling for the scam that is the university system? Not every degree is worthless, but a majority of them sure are. Those who are intelligent either get a degree that's actually worthwhile or find something else. Heard about a mechanical engineer who is a flat earther. So yeah, him, or any engineer, physicist, or astronomer that believes in that. The fact that a single one can get their degree and then turn around years later and believe in something fundamentally incompatible with the basic physics required to make sense of their degree is baffling. Someone I worked with, who in fact had a PhD, said what it really stood for was piled higher, deeper. My experience with people with that level of education either were intelligent and were dedicated, or were incredibly unfocused and capable with anything else in their life, and that was their only point of application. My classmate who graduated with honors and had the highest GPA in the entire college was not able to hold a job because she was only book smart. 3 years later I am the one who does her interview. I was an average student and she failed it due to lack of clinical knowledge. I know someone with a PhD in history who went to the Caribbean with only long trouser jumpers to wear. He was so hot he had to cut his jeans down to shorts. Then, as part of the same trip, he went to Washington, D.C., had to wear jean shorts the whole time. My friend is one of those. PhD in the medical field. On New Year's evening he lighted fireworks, threw away the lighter and the fireworks went in his hand. And he wasn't drunk. His wife literally forbid him to touch any fireworks ever again. I always thought Ben Carson was the chief example of it, and also that being brilliant in one area does not mean being overall brilliant. A pioneering pediatric neurosurgeon, and then gestures towards the 2016 campaign. I work in mental health and have known so many healthcare professionals with advanced degrees who I wouldn't trust to take care of a goldfish and can't believe counsel people on a regular basis. My wife has a PhD and is absolutely awesome, working in a challenging and rewarding field. However, she is clearly an idiot as she thinks I'm smart and married me. So far she hasn't worked it out. My wife once has a roommate and was working on her PhD. At one point she basically went on an Oreo diet because they're vegan, and was later surprised to find her health wasn't improving. My grandmother was a registered nurse, yet she thought the best soap for my sister's bubble bath was dish soap. My mom said her skin ended up so dirty, it soaked up lotion almost instantly. Somehow they're smart enough to get a PhD, but can't figure out how to get to a hotel from the airport without someone holding their hand the whole way. Elon Musk buying Twitter, now X, for $44 billion. By all accounts he's a really smart man, but he is an absolute idiot where Twitter is concerned. Anybody who spends their career bleeding political slogans, then justifying them through various unlikely means and calling it science. Having a PhD means you know a lot about a very specific tiny subject. Outside of that subject they're just as dumb as anyone else. I once had an astrophysics PhD student tell me he thought the moon landings had been faked. I assume he's finished his PhD by now. Now that I'm older, I know more and more people with PhDs. I don't think my standard got higher, but some of these pedom Zionists like Richard Feynman have many degrees but still commit genocide in Palestine like the savage animals they are. This video come to mind, the one girl is super cringe. Bro, I can even figure out how to use the washing machine. I've never done my own laundry. Nobel disease. There are a ton of laureates that go conspiratorial batshit later in life. Some PhDs talking about fat acceptance makes me wonder how they got their tests done. My stepfather was a PhD and also a child molesting pedophile including me. I don't know, but I made sure to avoid confusion by having neither.